Hello, everybody. Thanks for attending. My name is J.R. Carlucci. I am a consulting systems engineer with Fortinet. Today, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about how you can work towards securing your content delivery infrastructure and how Fortinet can help you do that. But before I start with that, I think I'd like to parrot back to you a few things which a lot of you are probably familiar with, but I think it's a good place to start so we can kind of figure out how we can show you where we can help. So, you know, in our conversations with folks like you in the media and the entertainment industry, you know, what we've heard is it's all about the subscribers, right? Growing your subscriber base and retaining them is critical for your revenue stream. And related to that is optimum performance. So what do we mean by that? Well, we mean that the user experience is going to be seamless, no glitches, and no delay. Like, we all know users are fickle, right? I mean, I know myself, if the channel is flicking or I see delay, I change it, right? I don't like that, and I don't think most users do. So having that experience is going to be crucial to retaining your subscribers. And of course, like all businesses, you need to control costs, right? But that's even more so because the infrastructure that needs to be built to support these more complex content delivery systems is really expanding, and that costs money. And so you need solutions that are reasonably priced, but also reasonably priced to operate in terms of power consumption and space needed to run those solutions. So that's what we're hearing a lot. And the other thing we're hearing in the industry is the value of data, right? Having good information from consumers that you can work with your ad exchanges in order to monetize that data. And of course, privacy of that data is crucial, right? Because no one wants their data being shared in ways they don't want to. And you have to privatize that and do that still in an efficient manner where it doesn't affect the performance and the user experience. Ultimately, the user experience cannot suffer no matter what you're doing. So, before I dive into how we can help with that, let's talk a little bit about Fortinet and who we are for those who might not know who Fortinet is. We are a cybersecurity company founded in 2000 by Ken and Michael Z, two brothers. And from our inception, the vision, the mission of Fortinet has been to take networking and converge it with security. Because if you think about the networking stack from the time of the creation of the internet, security was an afterthought. It was about connectivity and ease of use, and no one could have foreseen where we are today, and that's why in a lot of ways it is so easy to hack these networks and get involved. And so Fortinet from its inception said we need to embed security into every part of the network, so it is a part of the network, and we can keep your communication secure. But we also understand that requires good performance, because looking and inspecting things naturally takes more time. Now, since that time, we've grown tremendously. We went IPO in 2009. I myself have been with Fortinet since 2010. When I joined, we had about $300 million in revenue, 1,000 employees. Today, we're over $4 billion in revenue, 14,000 employees, a $25 billion market cap. We do a wide range of software and hardware products, from next generation firewalls to mail security to brand recognition and protection. We really cover the gamut. That being said, today we're actually going to talk about a little bit more about our hardware side of the business. And even though there's so much talk of cloud computing, software-defined networks, all very, very important. When it comes to large data centers and the ever-growing need for performance, you still need hardware. Hardware still is really important. So why is that? Well, in the media entertainment industry, latency is huge. And why is it important? Well, we talked about user experience, right? And you say to yourself, okay, well, I don't want to see any delay or any glitches. Well, every device that, when you deliver content, every device that it hits adds latency. Latency is cumulative. And when you have that kind of cumulative effect, as your networks get bigger, as your content delivery infrastructure has more going on, you have the potential to add more latency. And nothing adds more latency than a security device. Why is that? A security device actually has to stop, set up a session, and inspect that traffic. Is it coming from the area I want it to come from? Is it going to the place it needs to go to? Is it doing something that it shouldn't be doing? That takes power, and it also takes time. And in a lot of cases, companies don't want to add that overhead because that can affect the user experience. So, hey, I'm securing my user, but if I'm giving them a negative user experience, I'm defeating the purpose. So you need a solution that can do those things without affecting that end user experience. So that's where Fortinet comes in with our ASICs. So what is an ASIC? Really simple. It is a computer chip like Intel, like AMD. We make our own chips, literally fabricate them ourselves, but we create them and make them purpose-built to run those security functions on the chip. We've been doing this since 2006. Our first foray really came out of the financial institution because in financials, if you think about financial transactions, speed is everything, right? If a financial transaction is slower than your competitor's going to get more business. And the financial institutions came to us, they wanted to be able to secure their networks, but not take a competitive hit. So we started doing those security functions in there, and then many other industries have taken advantage of it. Now we're seeing the media and entertainment industry, as they move more to an IP broadcast network, have the same needs. So what can we do in that ASIC? I'll get into a couple little techie things, right? You see that concurrent sessions number. Well, that means if I've got millions of subscribers coming at one time, I may need to do literally millions and millions, up to 100 million sessions per second. An equivalent chip from, let's say, Intel, maybe can do 100 to 500,000 sessions in a second. On our chip, we can do up to 100 million on one chip. Up to 200 gig of throughput, but here's the big thing. 2 to 3 microseconds of latency. So we can inspect that traffic, and that is really, really minuscule. 2 to 3 microseconds. If you were to use an Intel chip to do the same thing, about 150 microseconds. Now you might say, hey, that's not much. I mean, microseconds, we're talking, that's nothing. Well, again, latency is cumulative. If you add that at every point in your content delivery journey, it can end up being enough delay that will affect the user experience. So we find, again, in these low latency requirement environments, our only competition is not using a firewall at all, because really no other vendor can do this because we make these chips for ourselves. So just to kind of hone this idea down, these are some of our products, and you can see we can scale over a terabyte of data in an appliance that is about 4U big. And the reason that's relevant, not only that it takes less space, but it's all about power. One of our ASICs uses about 20 watts of power. An Intel chip of equivalent size, 95 watts. Now we have to put, I don't know, I think there's, in that 4400, I think there's approximately 6 of our ASICs in there. To do the same amount of throughput in an Intel or AMD chip would literally take you hundreds of ASICs, and you'd be using thousands of watts of power. So you're getting performance at an optimal power consumption rate, and that's going to affect your bottom line in terms of operational costs year over year. And all of this at that low latency level. So I really think I've kind of beat the horse on the low latency performance side of things. I want to talk about a few more use cases that are also relevant that we can do within our hardware. The first here is I want to talk about encrypted traffic. So I talked about ad exchanges, or you might have partners. There's times when you have to keep your data private and secure. Well, nothing uses more processing power than encryption and decryption. And we also have programmed our chip to handle that encryption and decryption for data privacy right on the chip, allowing you to do up to 75 gig of encrypted traffic on one chip. That's unmatched in the industry, and it'll allow you to still have secure private connections and security without affecting performance. And the final use case I'll mention will be large data flows. So I believe this one also applies to the media and entertainment industry. We first saw this a lot in the pharmaceutical industry. So if you think of research arms in pharmaceuticals, they're doing these huge data files for advanced AI data analytics of models of viruses, and these could be 80 gig files, 60 gig files, and they have to protect them because they contain proprietary information from the competitors. Well, most security devices cannot handle files that big. They have to break them apart. They may not even be able to scan them, and they certainly will slow down the transfer of those files. Well, this would directly apply to the media and entertainment industry because there's no doubt you're going to have huge streams and files as you have to push those over IP networks, large videos, especially as you go into Ultra HD and other formats that can be really, really large files. So this is also something where a Fortinet appliance can really help with. So, in conclusion, I think just want to remind everyone, hardware processing does improve the user experience. In a world where people don't talk about hardware too much, hardware still matters. And if you really want to make sure you can embed your system without expecting, causing a problem for the user, definitely think about Fortinet. But since I talked so much about hardware, I just did want to mention we are a software company too. And one of the key things here is that our OS that does all of the security, it's separate from the hardware. You do not need to bind the OS. And what that means is we offer virtual appliances. We're in the public cloud. We integrate with software-defined networks like Cisco ACI, or NSXT from VMware. So, and all of that you would manage from the same platform and have the same administrative experience. So I don't want anyone to walk away from this and think that Fortinet is just a hardware company. We have a wide array of software solutions. And finally, I'd like you to consider us as a trusted partner. We are a worldwide security company. We have some of the largest organizations that we're supporting. We have follow the sun support. We have resident engineer services. We're not just here to sell you a product, walk away. We're here to partner with you to help you build these solutions so your business can continue making the revenue, and that's ultimately what you're trying to achieve, and we're just here to help you. And hopefully you've learned a little bit more about Fortinet today. I'm here if anyone has any questions, and thanks everyone for the time. Much appreciated.